All right, thanks for coming, guys, and come and watch about Orbital Pinball Framework and visual pinball in general. I think, as would be shown by the fact that not many people are into visual pinball yet, is kind of an exciting place for us because a lot of people don't know what is actually doable with visual pinball. They're actually talking with a lot of people in the industry. They still comp things the old school way. They alien pinball, which highway pinball, unfortunately, just went out of business, but they didn't even have their code down, even when they went out of business. And tables were out there in the world. There was no completed code, which is kind of sad because nowadays we can code everything. We can have a fully working game, and the only bits we need are to now get the pieces made and constructed. But our code can be ready, our video backglass can be ready, our scoring. You'll see on the cabinet there that we're using both an active backglass and an Ultra DMV. Ultra DMV is what was used on America's Most Haunted, was used on Rob Zombies. So the same kind of code there that is actually in production machines, but a bunch of good stuff there. So I'm going to jump into kind of a presentation here. What we have on the screen here is orbitalpin.com. I'll refer back to this later, but orbitalpin.com is where you'll be able to download all the things we talked about today, even the presentation. If you want to go give this for me somewhere else, that'd be fantastic. But the presentation, all the documents, all the framework file we're going to talk about today is all available on orbitalpin.com. All right, so designing your own table. It can sound like a mountain of a task, and it is a mountain of a task if you don't have help. And so what we're going to be talking about today is how can this framework get you up off the ground quicker, easier, get you right into designing your own game. So let's start first. Let's first learn how to use this keyboard. What table do you guys feel should exist?
Dear, I don't want a strong idea. I just want to do a Mystery Science 3000 table.
That'd be sweet. That would have a lot of great video, plus you can have the like silhouettes at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. Any other ideas? Anyone else got? Steve, you have to have one.
Well, I've got lots, but it's a question that comes up a lot. There are lots of good ideas out there.
Yeah, right.
I like the Mystery Science Theater 2000. I hadn't thought about that.
So now that's the front runner.
It is.
Any others? Nick, do you have any that you wish existed?
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know.
So we did. So one of the things you see on there is visual pinball junkies up at the top. We'll circle back around to this later, but there's a bunch of great communities out there for people who are coding, making visual pinball cabinets, all the rest of that. So we did a poll on there, which Steve, maybe you were on this poll. Surprised to see Spaceballs as #1, highest voted. Though it would be pretty great. You got like ludicrous speed multi-ball.
I got voted for Silent Hill, I think. Yeah.
Silent Hill was one of your votes. Yeah. I think you and Terry both wanted that. We've got the Matrix also be great. The ones that are checked are the ones that I voted for. So that's not just. I guess those are the ones I want. But to get into, I can't believe there's not a Matrix. I think someone rethemed an old table of the Matrix and did a really poor job. But the Matrix would be fantastic.
There was someone on Pin's side who was doing a Spaceballs to Pin.
Were they?
Yeah.
That's great. It would be pretty hilarious to get into just Spaceballs. We probably need one. So, what did I choose? I chose Stranger Things. One, I love any kind of haunted, scary pinball. What we have here is Terry Haggerty on Visual Pinball Addicts. This is his cabinet. He walks through how to play the game, showing all the different aspects of the game and his super fancy setup with his LED matrix, which some would agree that might be a little too much sometimes, but is pretty cool. But so the things that I wanted to talk about here is that when you're coding this, you get to have as much freedom with your rules, everything else as you want. On my table here, you'll notice we have our attract mode. Everything is RGB lights, similar to a Jersey Jacks table. You have modes. So on this, you'll see the 4 lights. Terry's going to show here how to start one of the multi-balls. So he's going to be starting badminton multi-ball, I believe. So he's using the ball roller, manual ball roller, which helps you when you're coding out your table to make sure that you can quickly and easily test your mode, make sure your code is working, similar to what Stern would do if they have taken off the glass and just punching the different items. So you'll see here when he goes into badminton, we'll have a cinematic background that plays, as well as voiceovers that we can't hear now. And then we'll notice that the RGB, all the general illumination is on RGB as well. Again, all things in your code that could transfer over to making a real pinball machine if you wanted, setting all your lighting and your light displays all to be different RGB. So really cool stuff. And so things on here that we're looking at that are included in Orbital Framework, which we'll get to, but that's what we're giving away here. Giving it away. It's free. Anyone can use it. It's online. Go download it. Make something cool. But the active backglass is ready to go. This on the right here, this is actually his topper file. So if you have a table that has a topper, or in his case, if you put it there, you can put toppers along with your file, which are all active as well. So if you wanted to change your topper based on what was going on, you can do that as well. So he's showing running through the multi-ball. He's got the super jackpot lit. You'll notice when he runs through the super jackpot, you're going to get badminton escapes. So all your voiceovers, you can't hear the voiceovers here, but all the voiceovers were done by my wife on every one of my tables, even the ones who sound really scary, like a demon. She was actually my wife. This one, we pitch shifted it, so it sounds like a little girl. And people always think it's my daughter, and then when I tell them I don't have a daughter and it's my wife, they get really uncomfortable. But yeah, so it's really fun because you get to do those voiceovers yourself, so you can, and all the voiceovers on all my tables have just been recorded with an iMac. It doesn't require something fancy. Just open up any voice recorder, record yourself, save it as a wave, put it in your table, and sound great. You got to think a lot of times when you're playing a table and voiceovers come over, there's like 90 other things going on. It doesn't have to be the greatest quality of studio mic you've ever heard. So we'll see here, he started Barb, and we've got the cinematic going on of Barb getting taken up by the Demogorgon, and then we get the chance to try to find her. Spoiler alert, she's dead. When we find her, she's dead. But so again, we got our yellow GIs going on there, but just a lot of cool stuff. So what we want to talk about next is what do we need to do to plan our table, right? So okay, we have an idea that we want Spaceballs, Mystery Science Theater. We've got this idea of what now, right? How do we make this next step? So what I have on orbitalpin.com is a pinball table planner. What this is going to do is this helps you understand, let's make this larger, easier. What this does is this is going to take you through how to pick a theme, what you need to do once you pick your theme, and then what your options are for designing and laying out your playfield. So you've got your 2 options of theme. You've got an original story, which is going to be pretty hard to do, but also really fun, say Medieval Madness. It didn't exist before. Someone made it up. And why that gives you no media, like on this Stranger Things backglass video, obviously. I just use TV show stuff. But on this one, you get to pick your own story. And if you ever actually want to sell it and make a real table, well, you don't have to pay for licensing. So that's pretty sweet. And your other option is a fan table or popular table, which is what I've done here with Stranger Things. Is just take the easier route, find a movie, band, TV show, something you love, and build it off of that. And what that'll do is that it, Obviously, there'd be a roadblock if I ever wanted this to be real. I'd have to get rights. Netflix could say, nope, sorry, not interested, and it's dead. But I still get to make something that's fun to play, which is great. So if we look at then what this goes into, it'll talk to you about the things you need to think about when. So if you're doing Mystery Science Theater, if it's going to be a modern table, you're going to need modes, you're going to need multi-balls, you're going to need a wizard mode. On top of that, must-haves that you need to look into, extra balls, or balls, skill shots, high scores, what your D&D will be like, and then we have also our nice-to-have rule set. Are you going to have a bonus? Are you going to have playfield multipliers, video modes, which video modes are fully supported in pinup. So you can actually turn the entire back glass into a video mode that's controllable by your flippers if you want, which would be fun. And we have 2 different frameworks coming out and a void. So that would just say you're avoiding something on the screen similar to, let's say, get away, and you don't want to hit the cars moving around. So we have an avoid that we're coming out with. And then we also have a kill, which is you're trying to destroy something out there. Replay mystery, all the rest of that. So then we have a whole bunch of understanding the rules of the road. So this is my kind of suggestions on your playfield, how to make your life easier. So if you have one dugout that's going to handle one kicker, that'll handle your 3 multi-balls, your extra ball, your mystery, that's going to be a pain in the ass to code. So probably don't do that. Probably make 3 different kickers somewhere on the playfield. This one does this one does this one does this. Because, you know, what happens again when you have that kicker that is 2 blocks, it's a mystery and it's an extra ball, you know, you can understand.
But
have fun.
Go with the start key to look
Right.
at whether you've got credits or free play set.
Right. So, you know, things to avoid, my list. And then we're looking at your playfield planner. So what are your 6 to 10 shots? A playfield is going to generally have anywhere from 6 to 10 shots. So if we're looking at Stranger Things playfield, this is my blueprint. We'll see here we've got 1 shot here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have 9. So I push this one about to the edge. The more shots you have, the skinnier your shots are. Think Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is really hard to hit the ramps. That's because they put a lot of shots on the playfield. And while that's cool, because you get a lot of shots on the playfield, it also makes it really hard for a new player to step up and just be able to play a table. You have so many things that you've made. Everything's smaller than it needs to be. What we have here, these little circles, these are to show the size of ramp. So my suggestion is at least try to make a ramp double the size of a ball. So let's say in visual pinball, this is the size, a ball is the size 50, right? So if I make my ramp, which this one is 100, actually I think this is 110, then that gives us a relatively easy ramp. If we do, say, Ghostbusters as an example, theirs are anywhere between 70 and 80. So you're only looking at a ball and a half or a ball and a quarter, which makes, obviously, hitting a shot really difficult. So looking at those kind of different layout items here really helps to, really well get you going. All right, so what is visual pinball? We have that planner, great. What is visual pinball? How do we get into this? Visual pinball is free. It's a platform online. It's fantastic. It's mainly been used for making recreations of tables that exist online. So going and downloading an AC/DC, a Monster Bash, all that stuff, super fun. That's a whole other conversation. Get into it. It's, you can make a cab like this, essentially have every game that's in this lobby, plus all the ones that are a lot harder to find. It's not the same, obviously. You don't have a rolling ball, but it is really damn fun. But anyway, so visual pinball has generally been used for making recreations. It's been worked on by over 10 years by a bunch of great people that do this all for free and give it away for free. Current version is 10.5, which is referred to as VPX. So if you hear me saying VPX, that's what that is. And this is showing some palette here of items. We have walls, gates, ramps, flippers, plunger, bumper, whole bunch of good stuff here. And what I like to impress is that every table, literally every table up till some of these new ones, Jersey Jack's table and stuff, have been recreated in visual. Meaning if you want to do it, you can do it. Anything in this palette will allow you to make anything out there you've ever seen in any pinball table. And part of the things that are in Orbital is we have some of the fancier stuff coded in here, like turntables, magnets, any of those kind of reverse bucks. So the scoops that kick the ball back onto a ramp, all that stuff is going to be in there. What we're looking at here on the right is my playfield for Stranger Things so that playfield there, actually in Visual Pinball X. I have a bunch of the layers turned off on layer 1, which I generally like to put most of my lights on layer 1, which just helps you when you're trying to code and remember what the hell did I call that light. You can find it right there pretty easily. But yeah, so you're given a lot of things. So Visual Pinball X, cool program, makes recreations. So why would anyone care about Orbital Pinball Framework? Why did we make it? So what Orbital Pinball Framework does is because Visual Pinball is mainly made for recreations, which are run by a ROM, you don't need, all you do in Visual Pinball X for a ROM table is you make all the stuff, then you connect it to the point on the ROM, and you're done. That's cool, but not very helpful if you're making your own table. And you're like, how do I get 1 to 4 players? How do I get scoring on my back glass? Like, the learning curve is so steep that most people look at it and go, cool and all.
It's taken me a couple of years to finally get into digging into it.
Right, it's beyond steep. And so most people end up looking at it and going, not for me. Cool and all, not for me. So the hope here and what me and quite a few other of the publishers all on Visual Pinball Junkies have done is put together all the stuff we feel is needed for someone to, right out of the gate, get started with a layout for a table. So these are some of the items included: 1 to 4 players, active back glass, scoring, high scores, attract mode, video support, MP3 support, flippers and ball shadows, manual ball roller, which I was showing earlier, your custom fonts, launch, all that stuff. So you've got call-out packs, which there are more people reporting call-out packs right now, which is really sweet. So say you wanted a British gentleman to do your call-outs for your table. We have people releasing those. So there will be call-out packs you'll be able to download. We talked about earlier, new things that are going to be coming are going to be scoring and mode packs. So you can say, how do I handle a mode where the light moves every 15 seconds? And you have to hit it where it moves. Those are all packs that we're coming out with that you'll be able to go get. Again, you'll have to get it to the table yourself, but at least all the code will be there, so you can go, okay, cool. Like, this is the names of my lights. So really to help people get started. Just to get this list in a basic table framework, most of that is enough for people to and so what we really try to do, which I think this is like about 3,000 lines of code, and we have it ready to go off the shelf. Orbitalpin.com, you can go download it, get playing with it today. So what does that look like? And so I wanted to show some of the things here for those that know about the example table. What we've done is we've taken the example Visual Pinball X table and made it essentially way better. So off of the bat, it's all 4K. So if you're thinking, okay, one day I want to get this actually created, we have made all the assets in 4K. I would like to do a shiny table, that's why I show it. Maybe someday I will. But all of the inserts, so your plastic inserts for RGB, most people are like, well, how do I get those onto the playfield? Where do I go find those? We've got about every shape that we like in there. So if you wanted your 3 different lightning bolts, I think this is Arabian Nights, that would be AC/DC. I don't actually know which one that one is. You've got your hot dogs, as I call them. You've got your different types of arrows that have insets. So you've got all your 4K items, which are fantastic, because a lot of people are building their cabinets down with 4K TVs in them, so to have that super crisp lighting. Over here we've got all the lights laid out for RGB, so when you start it up, you'll be able to see the RGB in action. And you've got your active back glass. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. So this is on my computer. So just starting it up out of the gate. So haven't done any work, just download off of Orbital Pen, open it up. You'll notice here you have your full RGB lighting as well as your GIs. So all that attract mode code is in there. You've got your fully active back glass, so that'll load up right away. So you can, I don't know what all I'm doing here. I'm probably talking through that. Let's see, let's get back to where we're actually looking at something. But so you'll have your full active back glass. You've got your Ultra DMD, which again is what is used on Rob Zombie, as well as America's Most Haunted, and which we can see there, the back glass DMD. If someone actually has a DMD, then your scores will still display on their DMD. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff here, as well as on the right-hand side, you'll see what I'm looking at and talking about there are the different 3D elements I've added. So some things that are not in Visual Pinball, like say your flashers. You don't have flashers off the shelf. So we've added in flashers of every color: red, green, blue, yellow, white, whatever you want, purple. Flashes are in there. You've got all your bumper caps. You've got all your flippers. If you wanted to make an older table, you've got your old school flippers. You've got white soda. You can see spotlights, like Stern style spotlights in there. You've got kickers. You've got dugouts. You've got stand-up targets. You've got screws. Phillips head and flathead screws, both types in there if you want to get real detailed on what you're doing. So you've got all the 3D items. You can see I've gone ahead and put one type here so that we can show nudge. So you'll watch, I've got nudge on it as well, so that all your nudge will be in there, your left, right, center. Tilts are all baked in. You can see it's going to give you tilt warnings. And so you can set how specific you want your tilting. So you can say, is it 0.5 sensitivity is anywhere from 0 to 1. So if you want it to be an old game that people really just hammer home on, you can put that down. You can make it really touchy, which no one likes, but most of the tables out here are set to really touchy, or that, or I just tilt out the thing. But yeah, so you can notice here as well, we've got player 1, player 2, so we've got our multiple player scoring in there. Everything kind of set up so that you guys can kind of jump in and get going. So let's jump back to our presentation. So building steps. So it's good to think about how you're going to attack this monster. And having your plan is the first one. Get that rules plan. Because if you know what you need to build, it makes life a lot easier. But after that, this is generally how me and a bunch of the other guys will design tables. We do our shot layouts. The first thing, this is very similar to the way tables are made out there. They make a whiteboard. Get your shots. Make sure your shots feel good. If the shots on your table suck, your table sucks. If you hit it in and it drains like half the time off of your shots, done, no one's going to play it. So start by getting your shot layout. And what that is that's just building it in Visual Pinball X. You don't need code, you don't need anything else. Just put it in there. The next is figure out your playfield inserts. So say you have 3 multi-balls, how is anyone going to know that those are ready? How are they going to know that they've finished those? So after that, we'll be getting into your playfield theme design. So we have our inserts, we know where things are going to go. Now, what does that look like? Okay, where is our ludicrous speed mode going to go? And where's our black helmet mode going to go? And what does that look like? What art are we pulling in for those things? Then after that, we actually get into the rules code. And this is where having the online presence and online forums is super helpful. Because then you can get in and say, hey guys, has anybody done this? Like, I'm struggling with this mode. Has anyone done it? And guaranteed within like 5 minutes, you'll have 3 people say, actually, yeah, I have done it. Let me talk you over some code. And we use, Orbital Pinball has a online closed group. So when people start building on Orbital Pinball and comment, we bring them in to then talk through, hey guys, you can jump in our forum here. You can talk through all the different codes that we have and what you need. After that, we'll go to lighting. So on lighting, that is, again, we'll have all our RGB LEDs out of the gate, which is super nice. But what happens if I want to hit something, and then I want the whole table to run from bottom to top. You know, if you look at the early videos of like Magic Girl, where J-Pop is doing a whole lot of work on the lights. Everything you hit has a reaction that floods the table, and it's really sweet. So how do we get into that? Again, those are things that are built into Orbital Pinball that you can say, sweep lights from center to out, sweep lights from top to bottom, sweep lights from bottom to top, and do it twice, do it 3 times, so you can kind of, all those things are coded and ready, but you probably want help asking, and so we're all there. We have our, after that, then we get into where what I think is really fun and also totally out of my skill set is to make cool 3D toys. So on Stranger Things, if you hit the barricade, the back wall will open up, a Demogorgon will come out on a rail, and he moves and screams as you hit him. Super cool. I did not do that. I totally had help to do that because I don't know how to 3D a Demogorgon, although there are a lot of people on there that do. So Tom Tower, who does a lot of the tables, he's in Italy. I'm live casting this right now for all those kids over in Europe that do this as well. They're online to help, and it's fantastic. And so we'll get into looking at it a little bit, but 3D elements and toys, playfield sounds and callouts. I generally say don't do that earlier, especially if your wife doesn't love doing it, and you ask her to record stuff for an hour, and then you tell her you're not going to use any of it, and you have to do it again. Don't do that, especially if you have a newborn screaming in the background for most of it. Don't do that. Wait until you're ready for those callouts, and then show them. And then back glass media. That's really your last thing you're going to be doing. That's kind of your final touches. So the skills, ideal skill set that you would have are all of these. If you find, I suck at video and audio, don't worry about it. Like, don't stress over it. There's a ton of people that will be willing to jump in and help with that. If not me, there's a whole bunch of other people that would also love it. 3D models again. I have these top 3, and then I'm just not terribly great at these, so I have help on those. And so don't worry, you're not alone. Those are ideal. If you only have one of them, you're still fine. If you have none of them, then maybe you just work on the rules and get someone else, but especially hopefully you have some kind of creativity, or you can get drunk or high enough to figure it out, but that would be the ideal skill set that you can obviously have help. So help, what does that mean? Additional resources, what is this? We have the table planner, really helpful. I very much suggest get going on that. Video resources, so you might say, okay, I've seen all this, but how the hell am I supposed to understand what I'm looking at it on the visual pinball layout? Very great question. I've gone through this many thus far. I'm going to keep building these. And so starting out, visual pinball design, what am I actually looking at? So that takes me to open up and go, okay, what are each of these elements? How do you even understand what you're looking at? To table dimensions and where to start, to how to build a playfield. So what is actually doing a shot layout? Like, cool, you put that on here, but what does that mean? I have a whole video talking about it, how you build one. I go through and build one with you. And so the media elements, the rule set, the playfield, coding a multi-ball. So simple things like that, like, okay, what does it mean? How do you code a multi-ball? From start to scratch, let's code one together. And so lots of good resources here. This will be out of date soon. It already is out of date because there's one video at the top of this that's introducing Orbital Pinball framework and what it is. So I'll continue to add to these, and they're very helpful. So original tables. It's not just me making these. There are a lot of other great people making these. I'm going to show off some of my favorites. This, Tom helped me do the Demogorgon on Stranger Things, the Table Champions League, which is fantastic and beautiful. It uses Ultra DMD, so I'll just start displaying. But it uses Ultra DMD, which isn't shown on this screen grab, but it has videos on the playfield, which is sweet. So you can see here it's got both your playfield DMD as well as it's got a secondary screen. And this one you choose which team you're playing as first. My favorite team is Liverpool, which made it to the finals and then failed big time. And so this is hard for me to play right now because my team got crushed. Yeah, these things happen. But great, beautiful table. You can see all the aspects of the lighting and the light shows that run on that. Those are all things that are in Orbital Pinball. So if you wanted to do flasher sets when someone hits, like you can see the bumpers will make two different flashes. This one's connected to that flasher, that one's connected up there. Super cool lighting shows and lighting displays. All of these tables are on Steve's cabinet. Another one is cartoons. So a lot of people ask me, especially ones that maybe aren't as into modern day pinball aesthetics, that once D&D's came in, they kind of lost interest, which is totally cool. It's not me, but it's totally cool. Is that all the aspects to make a traditional like EM table are in this as well. So this is one I personally love a lot by Brian Ryan, who hopefully is on there. He's probably talking shit right now because that's what he does. And this one, if you notice, I don't even know if this is the version, but so there you go. You got a roach running across the table because this is based on the cartoons show, which I don't know if it was like a TV show or mini movies, but either way, one of the aspects of it is the roach coach, which is, I forget the character's name, but anyways, so he has roaches running around in his table, and he made everything look super degraded and beat up, and it's fantastic. But it's all traditional EM. It's got exceptional chimes that go off on it that play whole songs, so similar to the Led Zeppelin mod table that's here that plays Black Dog on the chimes, which is fantastic. This does very similar things. It has full songs built out in the chimes. And if you have fancy cabinets, you'll feel those chimes. And you can even put actual chimes into your cabinet if you wanted to play on actual chimes. So really cool stuff. And again, all these tables are online for free. You can go download them whenever you want. This is the first table I did with a friend of mine, JP Salas, who is kind of the godfather of this stuff. Has been making original pinball tables for way longer than many of us have. But this one is the first table that we did is based on the video game Diablo. The cool thing that we wanted to do on this one is it is a 4-player collaborative game, meaning you're trying to get through all the dungeons and kill all the bosses, and where the previous player left off, you get to start up. And so you're really trying to collaboratively beat this table. It also has really cool stuff that up here, your lights are going to be your XP. So you actually level your character up. So when you're fighting a demon, your hits will go up or down depending on what XP level you are. So you're actually getting your character stronger. If we had the DMD on here, which again this video doesn't have, it'll have a real-time health counter for each boss that you're going against. So similar to like Attack from Mars, we have the meter that goes up and down. This one is similar to that, except for the bosses actually gain health back, which means if you just suck and you don't hit any shots, or you're one of those people that's got 3 cradled and you just hit with 1, maybe not the best thing to do. So we wanted people to actually have to speedily beat the table, or the demon will get his life back. And this one is a great new one that was brought across by a guy, Javier, and was originally designed on Future Pinball, which has kind of faded away. Its physics weren't very good. Every ball felt like a marshmallow. So we kind of got rid of that and went to visual pinball. I was going to go with wiffle ball. Yeah, wiffle ball is a good way to put it. This one has got just exceptional 3D elements. I mean, look at the plastic shine on that. It's just fantastic. And so really fun playfield, really fun game, and kind of goes into the fact that like I've literally never seen this cartoon. I had to look up what it was, but you get to make whatever game you want. And it doesn't matter if no one else likes it. You get to make whatever you want. And the great thing is that, I mean, you're not trying to sell it. So if it's an unpopular theme, who cares? Make whatever you want to make. So this is a fantastic game, and you'll see here it's got the playfield videos as well. Things that you, again, can code in there. There's change for what mode you're in and what you're trying to do, similar to the screens on The Hobbit and stuff like that. So really fun stuff. You can see you can do things that aren't doable in the real world, to actually like shoot a little gun across or have a roach run across your table. But you're still going to be playing with the tool set of a traditional pinball table. So you're not making a pinball FX table. You're making something that's going to feel a lot more like a real pinball table. So resources. Again, this presentation is all at orbitalpin.com. So if you don't remember these, or you want to go find them later, go to orbitalpin.com. You can download this. But bpinball.com, BB forums, Monster Bash PinCap, Orbital Pin. Those are your websites. Those are going to be the main ones. They're going to have everything you need. Forums, all the rest of the good stuff. Facebook groups, Visual Pinball Junkies and Visual Pinball Addicts. Steve and I don't actually know how your affiliation, you obviously put Junkies up there. I'm personally a big fan of Visual Pinball Junkies. Yeah, we do now no hatred to Visual Pinball Addicts, which is a little bit more drama over there. Yes. But it's a bigger group. There's more people there. Visual Pinball Junkies would be what I'd suggest. Go sign up if you're interested in this. Tons of resources. Like I can see all the comments running down the screen right now of people who are watching this. It's being streamed. This is being streamed right now on Visual Pinball Junkies, and so highly suggest it. Great community. Also, my YouTube channel, which I showed there, has tons of videos. So thanks. Questions? I've been running quickly here. What questions do you guys have on what all this means, where to go from here? And if you don't have any, that's fine. I'm not going to pressure you into it. Yeah, go for it.
Have you tried it in the virtual reality?
I have not. There's been conversations of getting Visual Pinball into VR, but it's not necessarily currently built in a way that makes VR terribly easy to do. I think some people have done it, but it's more stagnant. Whereas the goal would be that I could actually like walk around the cabinet and look in my shots. That was done for Future Pinball, and Future Pinball also had head tracking, so that if I leaned this way, I got a different view of my table. If I leaned this way, so taking kind of the VR experience without having to put on a set of goggles. Problem with those things is just because it is hand built to give it away for free, that it's been a little difficult to get a whole lot of support for that.
Yeah, we're game developers, we built our own, and it's amazing to play it that way.
In the VR.
It's definitely the future. And I never really cared for pinball on a flat screen.
Yeah.
But as soon as you add that third dimension that you get with that, and you can look like, it feels like a real pinball.
It definitely seems
it's
like
amazing.
the way
I
to go.
can't wait until somebody properly gets visual pinball working.
It would be fantastic.
It's going to be.
I can talk to the guys. Part of the thing that's great about Visual Pinball and about the fact that this thing is, kind of community done, is that a lot of the dudes doing Visual Pinball are like on the messages. They're on Orbital Pinball. If I need to talk with one of the lead developers, I can, which is fantastic. But we're still going to be somewhat stuck in a world where everyone's doing this for free for no money. So, you can only expect so much.
Now, I know some guys that I work with have built pinball tables using similar tools or actually visual pinball. They've sold it for consoles.
Yeah.
They actually work with me, and they're working for the game companies right now. They're making pinball. I'm pretty sure they're using visual pinball to do that.
Yep. And Russell Speak, who went to work for Highway Pinball, was probably the most well-noted one. He designed Aliens. Okay. And he did it on Future Pinball. I'm making tables right now with companies and getting paid for it. So you can get paid to do this stuff. I wouldn't quit your day job, but you definitely can. And it is something you can publish and put out there. But as you know, there's still a little bit of, I think until VR or more visual cabinets get out there that people understand it, I don't think there's just not that many people excited about it yet. That's okay, get in early, because it's when a lot of times when just noticing around conventions and stuff, when anyone my age or older walks by a pinball cabinet, they kind of look at it and go, whatever, move on. The kids lose their mind over it. And the kids are why pinball conferences and the rest of this has a 1,500% gain. It's not because there's more old guys. It's because the kids are the next level. The only people I've seen randomly walking by and being really excited about this are pretty much age 20 and below. And they're really excited, mainly just because they watch a lot of Stranger Things. And it is a great show. But I think it's the visual pinball, and especially going into AR and the rest of that, is going to be very heavily populated by a younger audience, which is fantastic. So I think it's got a lot of momentum to gain. And I don't know what time it is. I've seen people sneak in. We've got a little bit of time. Yeah. So actually, if any other questions? If no other questions, maybe we'll walk through how to play Stranger Things. We can actually look at what this code looks like in action.